Welcome everyone to the reflections on the 12 steps. Just a friendly announcement. This is not an AA meeting. It's just one member's view on the exact nature of the wrong as described on page 64 of the big book and the solutions contained within. This is not an or share meeting, so shares there will be, but actually a question and answer meeting with Paul. And I have picked here from page 66, quite on the bottom. So I start reading here. We turned back to the list, for it held the key to the future. We were prepared to look at it from an entirely different angle. We began to see that the world and its people really dominated us. In that state, the wrongdoing of others, fancied or real, had power to actually kill. How could we escape? We saw that these resentments must be mastered, but how? We could not wish them away any more than alcohol. This was our course. We realized that the people who wronged us were perhaps spiritually sick. So we did not like their symptoms and the way this disturbed us. They, like ourselves, were sick too. We asked God to help us show them the same tolerance, pity, and patience that we would cheerfully grant a sick friend. When a person offended, we said to ourselves, "This is a sick man. How can I be helpful to him? God save me from being angry. Thy will be done." We avoid retaliation or argument. We wouldn't treat sick people that way. If we do, we destroy our chance of being helpful. We cannot be helpful to all people, but at least God will show us how to take a kindly and tolerant view of each and everyone.
Thank you, Ms. Volkmann.
De nada.
Here, I'm going to show some of the people who have bothered me. There's one of them.
I agree.
There's the other. Yeah? Do you see them? Yes. So we realize that these people, who shall be named later, wronged me, were perhaps spiritually sick, but I actually don't think so. Really. I think it was purposeful. But though we did not like their symptoms, or them actually, and the way they disturbed us, they, like ourselves, were sick too. We ask God to help us show them the same tolerance, pity, and patience. You don't have to mean that. You just state it. Yes? Yeah. When a person offended, I'm looking at both of them, one and there. We said to ourselves, I've said this all day, all morning, this is a sick man. How can I be helpful? I haven't gone there yet, so I'm going to try to do that right now. How can I be helpful to these two people? Yeah, we gave them shelter, warmth. They're charging their electric cars here. They get coffee. They don't order it. They just go right to the machine. I'll take care of that, bro. They break the refrigerator just now. How can I be helpful to them? God save me. Oh, please. My first prayer was, God save me from them, but it's from being angry. Yeah, see. All right. Thy will be done. So, yeah, this is when it says we turn back to the list, that's obviously the inventory. So if you're unfamiliar with the inventory, it's the first working step of the program. And I would recommend looking at Joe and Charlie's seminars on internet, and they have already printed out 4-column inventories that I think are pretty helpful. And so, and if you can do one person or one thing that you seem to have resented, and you don't have to have a feeling about it right now, you just go over almost like a forensic, investigation. Resentment isn't like pulsating anger in you, but you look at the resentment because you want to see really what actually has defeated you. Yeah, you were defeated by resentment, but what defeated you was the idea of self. Yeah. And the idea of self, the vague or very incredible, influential, but vague and hard to put a finger on, appears before the resentment, and it's called my resentment, my fear, my harms done to others. This is the screwing of the handcuffs that get tighter and tighter. It's not the resentment, it's the owning of it, yours, because they're not yours. They're manifestations of self in one's life. If they talk about it here, we're going to look at things from a new angle. We're hoping to put this out. And it may sound like it's a new angle, but it's right out of the book. And yeah, so here, oh, it says here, we were prepared to look at it from an entirely different angle. Yeah, exactly. Instead of looking at how you defeated you, you see how self has defeated you. That's an entirely different angle. Yes? Instead of owning the manifestations of resentment, fears, and harm done to others, you actually see the accountability of self as the creator or the originator of those resentment, fears, and harm does to others. Yes? That's, you could say that's a pretty radical view. Yeah. It says here, this is the condition we were in without knowing it. We began to see that the world and its people really dominated us. We began to see that, but that was the case before. Yeah. So now we're becoming aware of something that we were unaware of, which really allows the defeat to continue. So we're suddenly starting to wake up to what has defeated us. Yeah. With the hopes that you're going to see it as not you. Hopefully. That's the point, really. Or if you don't see it, it can go to that extreme of you hating yourself. And, that to me is completely insane. Yeah. That you hate yourself. Yeah. So we began to see that the world and its people really dominated us in that state. So in that state of being dominated by how other people think about us, or how we think how other people are thinking about us, really is what's happening. Yeah. They're not probably thinking about you at all, basically, but whatever. So in that condition, it opens up to that the wrongdoing of others can actually kill us. Wow. Yeah. Wow. So like we said in AA when I came in, resenting someone is like taking poison to hurt the other person. You take the poison to hurt the other person. That's insane, isn't it? I mean, seriously. Yeah. All right. So the wrongdoings of others, fancied or real. So this is the whole idea of seemingly so, yes? Something is going to be as so as it's going to be so, and it can be fanciful. It may not actually be there, but you believe it's there. So there's an effect that's produced, yeah? So it could be real or fanciful. That's incredible, right? Uh, and in the head, it's a lot of fanciful stuff, yes? Because the head is definitely living in a fantasy, and that fantasy is what's not happening. It's living in that fantasy completely. And there, it has a lot of grievances, a lot of shit. Yeah. Yeah. We saw that these resentments must be mastered, but how? Well, maybe stop calling them yours. That's a good beginning. Really, literally. Because if self is using resentment to defeat us, the self's unseen hand is in the word my, yes? So the self's momentum, you can feel it in the my. So a resentment and my resentment are two different things, yes? Even though they're one thing called resentment, a resentment doesn't have much life. It usually comes up and then it dissipates quickly if you don't act upon it. Yeah. My resentment can be domesticated and you may be grooming it for 60 years. I mean, literally. Yeah. Literally. So my fear, self-impression and fear is my, yeah? Self's impression, its fingerprints are all over the resentment through my resentment, my fear, my harms done to other people in pursuit of what I wanted. In other words, being very self-seeking, frightened, and inconsiderate and dishonest. Yes? The fingerprints of what has defeated you are all over it. All over it. You just got to read it, got to see it. Yeah. So when you feel a resentment, it usually turns into yours very quickly. Yeah? That's the bondage of self. And when self says it has a resentment, it's telling the truth, but it's not your truth. So when the head addicted to self says my resentment, it's truly it. It is its resentment. It's telling the truth. But then we say my resentment. That's not the truth. Yes? So let self have its resentment, do an inventory on it, tell the truth about it, yeah, and you'll start recognizing what has defeated you is foreign to you, which is going to open up the possibility of being free from it. You're just going to try to like make 50, 60 different keys to open the lock. What opens the lock of freedom from the bondage of self is seeing self as foreign to you. How it defeats us is we call its manifestations, its thoughts, its observations and narrations of a life ours. That's the bondage of it. It's like if Stanley was living through me and I called everything that Stanley did through me, I would be in the act of being identified as Stanley. This is the bondage of self. We're laying this simple freaking diagnosis out so you can see it. Yeah. It sounds like you're going to do your inventory, but it is your inventory, but you're not inventorying you. Yeah. Just like I do an inventory on my clothes store. It is my inventory, but the clothes are not the clothes. Yes. I'm not the clothes. I don't get super bummed out. If the pants were mine and I didn't sell, I'd be bummed out. Yeah. But they're not mine. Yeah. If I work at the store, I could give a shit. If I own the store, I care about it a little more. Yeah. I'm supposed to be working at the store. I have made a decision to turn my will and my life over to the care of something greater than myself. That's the boss. Yeah. Let it worry about my life. It's under his guidance. It's guidance now, isn't it? Did you not make a third step? You made a decision to turn your will and life, your stores, all your storage, all your memories, everything over to the care of something else. Yeah? Because it's already been under the care of something else called self. Yeah? It's not like, oh, this is a whole new experience. No. You have been living under the care of something else called self bondage. We are now going to make a decision to have that contract moved. It's like being in a nursing home. I'm going to be moved to a new nursing home. Yeah. I'm going to be under the care of a nursing home no matter what, inevitably, probably. Yeah. But there can be a change of what nursing home. Yes. What's going to be under the care of the nursing home is the same. Yeah. Paul. Yeah. The importance is obviously what your life is under the care of. We've lived it. We've lived it already under the care of self. Yes. Were you treated well? Were the people you love treated well? Did you take all the blame of that personally? Yes. Do you want to confront that all day? No. So I watch Die Hard 8 or other things or drink or do something or yes. I want to distract myself from the unbearability of being the one who destroyed my life or other people's lives. How am I going to get, how am I not going to regret the past if I was the doer of it all? Yes? How are you going to get over that? Jesus, somebody spills something at a dinner, they don't go get over it for 30 years. Can you imagine that you ruined other people's lives? And on paper, you did in some respect. How are you going to get, oh, I don't regret that? Of course you fucking do. Yes? And it says you will not regret the past. Where? When? If you keep doing inventories and you're still the doer of what was done while you were under the influence, I humbly believe you're missing a huge point. Yeah? We're doing an inventory on self, not on us. Yeah? Yeah, all right. So how could we escape? We saw that these resentments must be mastered, but how? We could not wish them away any more than alcohol. Yeah. This was our course. We realized that the people who wronged us, let me take a look at them right now. All right. Were perhaps spiritually sick, even though I don't think so. But I'm saying I'm going to take this attitude. Yeah. I don't have to take this attitude anymore. This attitude has taken me. Yeah. When you take this attitude, after a while, it takes you. Just like when you do the steps, after a while, the steps do you. Yeah? This is the outgrowing phase. So you practice this shit until it becomes part of you. Though we did not like their symptoms and the way they disturbed us. They, like ourselves, were sick too. We asked God to help us show them the same tolerance, pity, and patience that we would cheerfully grant a sick friend. It's funny, they don't say treating them like that we treat us because we treat us fucking bad. They're talking as if a sick friend. Yeah. Yeah. Wow. I had not seen people be more harmful than to themselves in most cases. Yeah. Have you ever watched when there's a significant other and you're arguing, and then a stranger who has no importance in your life walks by, you shut up? Yeah. But as soon as they're away, you're at the throats again. Yeah. Wow. That's not what significant other is meant to open an access to, that you can take out your hatred and grievances on them. Yeah. All right. So we go here. We avoid retaliation or argument. We wouldn't treat 6 people that way. This is like the introduction of what you got to do when you're in a massive rash breakout. Yes. So they're going it over very simple. Let's start here. Yeah. Till we get the rash tempered down, and then other things will come up. Yeah. So I hope many of us are past this phase. And this is the attitude and outlook we look at the people with. Yeah, I hope. If it's not, practice this stuff and it will be if you stay around. Yeah. You will see people perhaps they are sick too, because you see them being driven by the same thing that's been driving you. Yeah. And suddenly you find you have compassion for them, and hopefully it finally grows into compassion for yourself. Yeah. Yeah. So again, it's about the resentment inventory. Resentment is the major killer of us people, supposedly. Fancied or real. Yes. There's a condition prior to the condition of resentment that fosters resentments, and that's the condition of self-centeredness. Yes. Extreme self-centeredness, which we're under. And it boils down to perhaps there's a better way. Trust in the infinite or rather than finite self. Yeah. And if you want to see how you trust finite self, you're believing the thoughts that are being played in the head. You're taking solace and faith in those thoughts, and where they're producing many decisions based on self that set off all these trains of circumstances that bring us misfortune we feel we don't deserve. So we're still out to lunch while we're getting punched. Yeah. And so basically, we deal with the punch after we get hit, where in this case, we're attempting to see the punch before we get hit. Yeah. Without knowing it is going to become knowing it, and things are going to change. When the quality that we have becomes present in our life, which means being aware of, that quality is going to be put to some great use. Yes. You will suddenly realize something's doing for you what you can't do for yourself. And you're going to suddenly, and then maybe over time, realize something was doing through you what you would never have done by yourself. Yeah. Something, you've been under the care of something. Yes. It wasn't Kathy, it was self. You were under the care of something. It wasn't Ruby, it was self. You were under the care of something. It wasn't Matthew, it was self. Yeah. We're making a decision to put our life and will under the care of something else. And we need help for that decision to become true. And that's the working steps and the grace of the higher power in this program. Yeah. And many of us have come out of the working steps, are now luxuriating in a freedom from the bondage of self to the point the problem does not exist for us today. Incredible, eh? Yes. So we can have a lot of other problems. But when you have a lot of other problems as a distraction from the big problem, it really sucks. Yeah. That big elephant in the room. So there's no elephant in my room anymore. Yeah. What you see is what you get. So very stoked about passing on the message because I was passed on a message. I need to pass on a message. I need to hear a message passed on. You need to pass on the message. You need to hear the message passed on. We just changed seats. Yeah. It's like an incredible symbiotic situation. Yeah. I need to carry it. You need to hear it. You need to hear it. I need to carry it. Carry here. You here. Carry. Yeah. It goes on and on. Yes. Thank God we're not all insane at the same time. There's got to be one sane person in this Zoom square. I've already canceled out a lot of them, but I know there's one sane person here. I can feel it. And that's all that's needed. All that's needed is one sane person. Resting in the certainty. Yeah. It's contagious. It really is. It's very contagious. So hey, thank you. I hope these people here heard it. Yeah, literally. Now I have some room on my resentment inventory. They're off so Jeff and Vlad are taking off I'll have two new ones quickly, probably. Yeah. The dog. I investigated. The dog has been eating the cat food. Yes. I caught her red-handed or red-pawed last night. She pleaded for mercy. Yes. So, yeah. All right. Anyone around wants to share or anything?
Anyone has a question? You
Great.
can raise your hand.
If not, Ms. Folkman, let me share. Oh, John K. Come on, John. Come on in.
I want to thank you for bringing it all together in such a way as gives me so much peace. Thank you.
You're more than welcome, John. The greatest gift I could get is when you open up the gift of, yeah, of recovery. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, great. I wanted to share then, simple thing. Most of us have been in AA and are in AA. Most of us probably came in very self-centered, selfish, and all like that. And then we felt a grace moving us, or we saw it moving others, and there was a lot of demonstration, obviously, and we could capture it with something is doing for us what we couldn't do for ourselves. Yeah, it's one of the main like gifts, this kind of view. And then some sense of gratitude comes up, and you're more appreciative of a lot of things that you used to just look over. Yeah. And it's very clear you're not the cause of it, but you're the recipient of it. Yeah. You're the recipient of the grace. You're receiving the downloads, all like this. Yeah. But you're not the cause of it. You're not dropping the grace in or doing anything. And it's you realize quickly it's not meritocracy, really. It's not like you've earned it. That if you just have a little willingness, something will go a long way in your life. It will. Yeah. And it's just a natural progression into gratitude, and you give great glory. Like I have a lot of, you may not like everyone in AA, but I love AA. I have a lot of honest, uh, it's like tactile gratitude because I was in hell and the bus that took me out of hell had AA on it. Yeah. Yes. It was just that simple. So I like other things like Buddhism and stuff, but nothing has the intimacy than recovery because of the transition from a life relying on self-will to another life. Yeah. This is what doesn't surprise me, but I want to point out to you here. Something was doing through us when we were out there and producing things that we would never have done ourselves. Yes? And it's sort of getting away scot-free. You're taking all of the guilt and shame based on decisions based on something foreign to you. And really, if you had a role in it, you were used for transportation, basically. Yeah. Why the hell are we not recognizing that? Living in a life of guilt and shame based on what we did while under the influence, and then living halfway in another life of gratitude and recognition that we're not doing our own sobriety. But all the other shit we own completely. And not only that, the head we listen to brings us back to those events over and over again in its world of what's not happening. You revisit the fucking, the gallery of thievery with you in every one of the scenes without it being seen anywhere. I don't know how it can keep getting away with this fucking robbery. I don't. Yeah. People are singing in the choir of gratitude. Yes. But then they're at home mea coping every day for what they did while under the influence. You did not do it. You were driven. Driven means you were not the driver. Yes? Where's their relief? Where's their forgiveness? How can you not regret the past if you feel like you were the doer of the past? If you feel like you were the doer of your past, there's cause for a lot of fucking regret. That logic is going to be very difficult to break. Yeah? That logic, you can philosophize it, you can put like facial cream on it, you can do everything to it, but it's that acne is going to break out. Yeah, because in your head you did it and you deserve to be fucked. Yes. If it's so easy to practice you're not doing your recovery, why isn't it easy to recognize you didn't do your fucking demise? Yes. Because the parasite is talking to you as you. and it has you convicted of crimes it did through you while it's out scot-free. It's like going to a prison and going into a new cell and there's a Toyota in there. So that which was driven, the Toyota, is now in the jail. Where's the fucking driver? It's really that insane, literally. I don't know how we can only put up with it by being ignorant of it. That's the only way I could see it. I cannot see there's any benefit, playing the role of being the doer of all that shit that was done through us. I just don't see any benefit in it, except for the parasite. I see a huge benefit because it may not have a present hold on you now. You may not be drinking, but it has a past hold on you. It has a past hold on you. You're still imprisoned there. This is about freedom, yes? Not compartmentalized, but freedom. So it's a real weird phenomenon I've witnessed so many years. People knowing they did not get them sober, but being completely sure they did the other shit. It just blows my mind. It really does. You make all your amends and everything, yet there's not much freedom. Yes. The head loves to go back. Oh, remember that thing you did 40 years ago? Do you remember that thing they did? Probably not much. But you go to a lot of you dids for sure, over and over again. It's like fucking you take a vacation. Oh, everything's great. Let me go back 40 years ago. So I can feel bad about it being great right now. I don't deserve it. You wouldn't believe what I did. Yes, I will. I do believe what you did. You played the role of the truck. You were not the driver. Yeah, I played the same fucking role. We ended up in the same 3 parking spaces, and we finally ended up in the recovery garage. Yeah. So yes. This is how it worked with me. It really started to work when I saw self as foreign to me. It would happen in it was like a 5-minute event. I read the word self, it triggered a foreignness in me. It didn't remind me of me. It reminded me of something foreign to me. And then as soon as I saw that, my head said, hey, I can be, not my inner, said I can be free from it. If it's not me, I can be free from it. And there it went. The possibility was presented and took root. And so it is now, to the point the problem doesn't exist for me anymore today. Yeah? There's no rocket science in there. The bondage was held in place by me claiming to be the doer of all the shit I was driven to do while under the influence. It had me by the gonads. Suddenly, I realized that which had me by the gonads was not me. Then the possibility that I could be free from that appeared, and here it is. Yeah. The whole point of these talks, mostly on page 64, rooted in the exact nature wrong. It says it. You're doing the inventory, and one of the first things you're going to see is you're going to be convinced self manifested in various ways is what has defeated us. They write the first effect of doing the inventory, and everyone overrides it, just goes flying over it, and we keep calling the manifestations of self, which we're inventorying, ours. And the durability of this delusion and how much energy and attention it takes is mind-boggling. If you needed like 8 quarts of blood to feel like you were alive, you're down to 1 quart. The parasite's just sucking your life away. Yeah? Yeah. So follow the umbilical cord. Yes? It's not your mama. Follow the umbilical cord. You don't have any familial restraints with it. That thing can be fucking cut. Yes? Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well.
Okay, we have here Matthew. He has a question. Matthew?
Hi there, I'm Matt. I'm an alcoholic. Thank you for the meeting and thank you for your time, Paul. Yeah, I'm just wanting to learn a bit better how you identify when self is getting involved. I see it quite clearly when my mind's running away and I'm having negative thoughts, and I can pause and step back and watch what's going on and disassociate from it. But if the parasite is claiming the good actions,
Yes.
I just struggle to identify at what point do you become sort of influenced? What's a pure thought? Is it purely presence without thought or
Don't worry
overthinking?
about that, because you'll come to know. Just like it says, when you get this idea, you may make some interesting mistakes around it. But this is the learning process. So you get a sense of where shit is coming from in you. And it's either coming in a broad manner, it's either coming from the infinite or the finite self on this level of Paul from moment to moment. You'll come to know the difference and get strengthened in one and weakened in the other. Yes. And the idea of a pure thought, that would be more like an intuition or a sense of something. That's not actually put in the case of a thought. You start knowing things before you think about things. Yes. And after a while, you start being directed from that which is before thinking than being directed by the thinking, because the thinking is infected with alcoholism for us, obviously. Yes.
Yeah.
That's where the problem resides, in the mental activity, and it expresses itself through the mental activity, and the major one is thought. Yeah. Yes. So but it says in AA, if you're aligned with this higher power, the thoughts are going to start aligning with it too, and you can use self-will at that point and all that kind of stuff. So it's not the system itself, it's what's been running the system. Yeah. The system, let's say the factory can make something and it's been used to make misery. Yeah. But it's not the factory that's making the misery, it's the one who's directing the factory. Yeah. The factory could make a lot of other things. So this is what happens. There's a transition from the old director, the old employer, and the new employer. So there's a lot of doubt while that transition's going on. But more and more, the faith in the new employer shines through and you get galvanized. Yes. So, yeah.
Mm. I
Yeah.
have a very efficient misery production line.
Well, a lot of us have. I mean, and then the thing is, it becomes your brand product. That's what you're known for. It sort of sucks, but you're not that, which is great. Yeah. Yeah. And anything here can be given value. I humbly believe it. Like it says, you'll find you went way far down, but even there, where you're at has value to others and helping others. I believe if you bring stuff that's going to turn into misery before is made into anything and put it in 6 and 7, it will not come out as misery. Seriously, if you take the raw material before it's shaped into misery and you bring it to step 6 and 7, and it doesn't go to that mental kiln where that pot of misery is made, you're going to get new products in your life and you're going to have a new product line. Yeah. And when you look under the cup, it won't say made in Paul. It'll be made through Paul, but not made in Paul. You'll be very clear about a lot of things. Just give it time. Stay sober. Stay on the operating table. Don't get up. Don't play doctor.
We're inherently impatient, aren't we?
Well, that's not us. That's impatient. The head is impatient because it doesn't like to be looked at. Yeah, it doesn't want to be investigated. It wants to be the investigator. It doesn't like to be investigated because obviously most of its activities go on without us knowing it. Yeah. So now we're coming back into the light, and it doesn't like light. It doesn't. Yeah. And so it's basically trying to distract and do a lot of shit. Yeah. But see, the thing is, in this dynamic, it's not the big dog anymore. This is the great, the fix is in, basically. The big dog has been introduced to the domain of the little dog playing the big dog. The little dog playing the big dog is seen through when the big dog shows up. We call it the higher power. Yeah. So the higher power does not fear the lower power. The lower power fears the higher power. Because I humbly believe in the world of power, the only thing power respects is other power. That's it. It's not gonna follow your decrees of mercy. It's just no. But if you introduce a bigger power than it, it's going to have a big effect. Yeah. And that's what AA's done. And it's given us a design for life to keep that higher power in place, which keeps the lower power in place to the point where the problem does not exist. Wow, that's incredible. Yeah. So you're in the process, the lower power is being revealed, it doesn't like it. So what? Just don't, don't do anything stupid. Like we have a simple thing in here. What's the difference between an alcoholic and a recovered alcoholic? The alcoholic calls you after they drink. The recovered alcoholic calls you before they drink. That's all. Because if you take an action based on self and drink and use again, a lot of possibilities shrink. You just got to start, go to a meeting and everything like that. Yes? Right now, before you drink, there's a lot of possibility available. After you drink, you got to do what you got to do. It's just that simple. So, yeah, the head would love you to realize you're an alcoholic after you drink. It would love it. It will have a fucking field day with it. It's just dying for you to drink so it can go back in there and rip you like 30 new assholes. Yeah, it's just that's its impatience. It's impatient with your fucking sobriety. It wants fucking access again. And it wants to talk you into doing something stupid so that it can get access. Right now, it's like, the old story of vampires, they have to be invited in. Yeah. So this vampire is knocking on your window. Hey, I'm selling sharks or whatever, just if you don't let it in, it's going to feel super impatient. It's going to get very frustrated because it's used to having access in your life. Yeah. And now it can't go wherever it wants to go anymore. It gets stopped. Yes. Yeah. It's like a beautiful transition, just beautiful. Of course, in the beginning, the problem is really big and then the solution is hoped for. Yeah. But after a time, the solution is the reality. Yeah. And you get drifts of pure solution, like grace, just bombs of peace and quiet and stuff. Yeah. Yeah. It's like, wow. But when we first come in, it's a lot of mixture of solution and problem. But if you stay in, it becomes more and more solution. It really does. Yeah. I feel.
Thanks, Paul.
Yeah.
I appreciate you.
Yeah, you're welcome, man. So just basically, you don't need that many books on the operating table. Don't get too much knowledge. Just fucking have one knowledge that you're fucked is pretty good. It is. That's a good starting point. And then I don't know is pretty nice. And just stay on the operating table. And I have great faith in the operation because of basically the results. Yeah. Why do you think he's set me up for 37 years to fuck with me? Give me a break. After you've been under the influence of something for 37 years, you sort of know the nature of that influence, don't you? Loving, accepting, panoramic, large. Yes. Yeah. I don't think it's setting you up for a fall after 37 years. No. This nature of the spirit, we cannot understand it because it doesn't have any resemblance to our mental nature. It doesn't. Yeah. It's not out to punish people or, you know, you know, get revenge or fucking, yeah, it's just, it's just, it's almost, it's like the 800th times of an Irish grandmother. It's like incomprehensible. Yeah. 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 We've been introduced to this, and it's slowly or quickly just cleaning the shit out. Yeah. And reinforcing uh, the qualities that it inserts in us. Yeah. The love and tolerance. When people come into AA, do you notice this? They come into an AA meeting and sometimes they're new and they share and they go, I can't believe everyone's accepting of me and everything. No one's probably accepting them in their own head. But because we've gotten with a group, the group overrides the individuals in the group, and we are that that higher power is expressing itself through our group conscience. And when a new person comes, they feel the love and tolerance of the higher power. But everybody sitting there, I've already taken inventory on the person that walked in. Oh, this guy's a fucking loser or something like that. Yeah. But they don't feel that. They get the love and tolerance from what? The higher power. Yes. And this is happening in us. People, when they meet us, are meeting the higher power more than us. I hope. Yes. Yeah. You know, look at if you did coke and you did it for a long time, you looked a certain way. And another person who did coke and did it for a long time would recognize you. Yeah, you would. Or like crystal meth is easier. They're totally, you can tell what they're doing. After a while, it's sort of like if someone's being run by the higher power, you get it. It's overriding all their little personal foibles and actually probably making them cool and autistic or whatever. Yeah. And you're feeling something like you used to feel the addict or the alcoholism when you met a person. You're feeling the higher power. It's awesome. Yes? Awesome. If you're going to be a carrier of something, what better to carry than the higher power? Hmm? Yeah. You're being used for transportation. Yeah. So, as an action figure, I totally believe that we are occupied by things or no things. I do. Yeah. I think we're something that can be driven here. I do, like they say in the big book. I completely do. I believe we're like a factory and we can make a lot of stuff, but it's based on who's running the factory. And the same thing, the car's going to go based not on the car, but on the driver. And whatever you want to call it, there's things that move through us or blow us. Yeah. And I do not believe we're a self-encased, long-lasting, independent, separate entity. I believe we have a big, wide open back door and things come in and blow us around. Yeah. And some of them were fucking nasty, I found. Yeah. I did. And now the things that blow seem to be just brilliantly empty of any like human quality I've recognized in my 70 something years. Yeah. Other than the best ones. Yeah. So I'm a real believer as an action figure that surrender is the key. Yeah. Because we're overmatched. Most of us can't see the origins of our misery, but we can admit that we've been defeated, I think. And in that admittance of defeat, we can surrender And I humbly believe new things will move through you if that happens. Yes, I do. That's how I would explain this journey. Yeah, I got struck sober, and a minute before I was driven by that other fucking wind, yeah, of self. And then suddenly there was the hurricane was more of an eye of a hurricane, just complete pause, and something started blowing through me. That's kept me sober now 37 years almost. Yes, where I couldn't stay sober 37 minutes. Yeah. So this whole life has been done by something other than me. Yeah. And I'm very clear what I did while under the influence, I was not the doer of. I was the driver, the driven. I was not the driver. Yeah. And it's brought a lot of forgiveness here. Yeah. And I can look at my past and not regret it completely. And I did the amends and I did everything that we were suggested to do. But to me, when the manifestations are talked about, you don't see the self called the my. Yeah. It's just unbelievable. So, yep. Anyone else today?
Well, I have seen Travis here. I don't know if he still has a question. He has put his hand up
Travis,
before.
come on in.
Howdy. Yeah, I had a question. You sort of answered it in the last response. It was going to be some sort of a question about difference between like the just from my knowledge of like self-inquiry, just like the difference between like the I sense versus the me sense and
Yes.
all that stuff, but in sort of sitting with it and how the brain sort of or the head sort of wants to understand. For the longest time, you were talking about drunk non-dualists, and I feel
Yeah.
like I've been a stoned non-dualist for a long time, and like using a lot of energy to like understand things and like sort of giving like the soothing balm to the self and sort of like trying to make it feel better, and just sort of in listening to your talks and um, all that stuff, like that question that I was thinking, um, sort of realizing how the um, the thinking about it and the wanting to know, it's like the head or the self, or I don't even know, like I can see it sort of like want to spend a ton of energy to try to understand, so the wheels are turned, so like the machinery will start to fume just to get me to like get overwhelmed and like go use or whatever. And like ever since, I've just been watching your talks and like sort of just not being open to AA and like getting help in that way, and then just sort of like it's sort of been breaking down my pre whatever to that, and then it's just like, okay, not having to understand and just showing up. And I've started to going to meetings, and like there's like another power that sort of circumvents that thing that needs to understand, and like I can feel the energy shifting, so sort of just. And then what you said about in the response to the last question sort of also um, helped with that. So it's sort of like, do I need to know the question I'm asking? It's just like showing up to meetings and like making myself open, like in person for you and like AA meetings and whatever. Like I can sort of just feel things shifting, and it's like it's a lot easier than spending so much energy trying to like figure it out.
That's great. Yes, exactly. Well, you're in that process, and that process is progressing. That's awesome. The idea, see, a lot of us have there's been great faith in our ability to reason and to understand
Right.
and know. And this is another form of addiction, in a sense. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And so now that's being revealed, which is a great part of the process. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's so much energy spent.
See here in AA, there's a page on 53. They talk about this. It's in this We Agnostic chapter, but we go to it quite a lot. And so I'll just read this. It applies to what you were saying. So here goes. Let us think a little more closely. Without knowing it, had we not been brought to where we stood by a certain kind of faith? For did we not believe in our own reasoning? So, yes. So he's talking about having faith in that we can figure things out. Yes, that if I understand it, I'll know it and I'll get it. And this is not the case. So he goes on, did we not have confidence in our ability to think? Yep. What was that but a sort of faith? Yes, we had been faithful, abjectly faithful to the God of reason. So in a sense, the intellect for some of us, it has been a great part of what we have relied on that has failed. And in the case of this, it has failed miserably. Yes? So this is what they're talking about. And you, to me, were describing that's happening in slow time. Yes? And so that's awesome. And then the intellect and everything has a lot of possibilities that can be put to better use by the higher power than the lower power. So yeah, it's not the intellect, it's what was directing the intellect. Yeah. So the knowing isn't being. Yeah. When you know something, it doesn't necessarily make you being that something. So in this case, with the non-duality, we are already being what we are. And there's not a huge amount of knowing that's needed. So yeah, just go to the meetings and I bet you'll feel more expansive, and that's working. Yeah. Yeah, it's great. Thank you for that share. But yeah, like for me, I relied on my head, obviously. Yeah. I thought I was smart. I relied on my head, and look where that took me. So it seemed to be of service, but then it wasn't of service in a lot of situations. And they're talking about it here, which is, yes, we had been faithful, abjectly faithful. And then our friend Kathy, I think in Cleveland, gave us the definition of abjectly, which is perfect. It was spiritless servility. Isn't that incredible? So I have such a devotion to the head, it's causing me to be in spiritless servility to the head. Yeah. So I'm relying on something that inevitably is not going to be reliable. And this is what's happening. They're not saying not to rely on anything. We're going to rely on something. Yes? This is the situation of the action figure. We've been relying on something that's not reliable. Yeah. And we've been taking the fucking blame. Yeah. Now we're being introduced to rely on the infinite instead of finite self. Yeah. One of the ways there's reliance on finite self is believing we can think our way out of things or into things, or I can know myself into being and all like that. And it fails. Yeah. And there's great value in being able to witness the fail. Yeah. That's the beauty of it to me. Yeah. Yeah. There are so many people that think they can figure it out before they go to AA. Yeah. Well, all right. So thank you, Travis. Very nice. I'm very happy to meet you. Run with it, man. Life's throwing you a pass. You're used to only going 8 yards. This is a long Hail Mary pass. You can catch it. Keep running. It's going to throw you. It's going to show that you have a much farther expansion than your head can imagine. Yeah, yeah. So keep running.
Thanks,
Don't
Paul.
worry, the pass, and then the pass will come.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you. All right, anyone else, or we'll start saying goodbye? No? All right. Michael
No
Stacy.
hands up.
Michael Stacy, always a pleasure. Thank you. It's been a pleasure to be hanging out here. Axel, our man in Germany. Mickey, our forever greeter. Ruby Rose, she's in one of our more lonelier outposts in Kansas, but she's been doing a great job. She's been waiting for relief, rotation. There hasn't been. She's been there for years. I keep getting letters. When can I go to San Diego? No, Kansas. Yeah. Miss Volkman, thank you so much, honey. Oh, there's Hiram, our friend. Nice to see you, my friend. Yeah. You coming back sooner or later, I guess? Good. All right, good. Kathleen, I'll see you on Friday. Woohoo!
Paul, is today your birthday?
Today is the non-existent thing's birthday.
That's what I thought.
Yes.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes.
Birthday, Paul.
I really look.
Hey, happy birthday, Paul. Yay.
Happy
One that's
birthday
important
to
is
you.
March
Yeah,
21st.
man.
March 21st is more important to me. That's the day I got sober. So, but January
Okay.
21st, yes, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I don't
Yeah.
really do it. Yeah.
Hey, Paul, I had just stepped away. Are you coming to Southern California soon?
Yes, I'm in Joshua Tree Saturday.
Cool.
Come over. We put up I don't know if we put up the address, but if you want it, Steve, just send me an email. I'll send you the address. Yeah, we
That's
got a
great.
house there. We got a couple of houses, but we have one house. We're gonna have the Zoom on Saturday at 1:00 next Saturday.
I'll be there. Thank you.
Great. Yeah, we'll send me something so I can text you the address.
I will. Thank you.
All right. Yeah. Everyone else, hold on. John K. Thank you, John. I've been happy. We've been in the same little arc for all these years. It's very good. Melody from Phoenix. Nice to see you, honey. Rico, as always. Dennis, Brian, our youthful movement. You have to really cater and fit ourselves around our youthful movement. We need replacements. Yeah. Send me a resume for the next lineage holder of Zen Bitch Slap. I wouldn't recommend it, but yeah. Rob S. Nice to see you, Rob. Roman Mueller, my main man. There's Vlad, Roman.
Hey. So nice. Happy birthday. Cool. Have fun.
I can't get him out of the house. Fuck. Yeah. All right. Joseph, our friend in France. Miak. You have to tell us what happened to you, the car and everything. We got 12 James. That's interesting. I only see one James, which is good. 12 of them. Wow. We got Oliver in Berlin. John Hess. Nice to see John. Kerry, as always. He's in bright Hawaii today. We have the same sun, but not the same temperature. A little colder here. All right. Hey, thank you, everyone. A pleasure. We'll be here later at 4:30 Pacific time. There'll be another birthday celebration then, and I'm going to try to milk it for as long as I can. And thank you, Kathleen. I'll send you the check for slipping it in there. Yeah. See you, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul.
Thanks, Paul.
Thanks.